what is the difference between the people who are charging like the high ticket thing and the low ticket thing? Because at the end of the day, I think the services are a bit similar.
And ultimately what I got to a point in sort of late 2022, so the end of 22, start of 2023, when I was just fed up. We were spending literally 20, 30 hours plus a week on doing all sorts of social media and repurposing content.
Guys, the most important thing that we have to focus on a business part, most of the people are missing those things. So today we are going to talk about the small things that is very important for scale a business, but you are not focusing on that. So I am very excited for today's podcast. We have Robin with us, and Robin is like a business coach, author, mentor, helping a lot of businesses to get more leads. And there is something different that he uses. His approach is a bit different, but he's getting a lot of appointments. So I'm very excited to talk about a different approach to get appointments. We think we can get appointments by running ads, by doing cold outreach, by reaching out to the people on emails, or by creating content on social media. But no, there are other things as well that we can do to get more leads and scale our business. And we are going to discuss all those things in the podcast. So make sure to watch this till the end. Hi, Robin. How are you doing? How are you?
I'm doing great, Chetan. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you so much for being in my channel. I'm so grateful and so excited to talk to you about all the things that you have done in your life. I'm super excited. So before moving forward, the people who are watching you for the first time, would you like to introduce yourself to them so that they can know more about you?
Yeah, of course. So I'll give you a very short history. I've been in business now 21 years. The first 12 of those years was spent running a web design and marketing agency, doing sort of SEO, branding websites and those sorts of things. In 2016, I was kind of between, well, my family was growing. I was between my daughters being born, and realized that agency life just wasn't for me. There's too many sort of, all-nighters. My team was slightly dysfunctional. We were a very productive, very good local agency, but just, and good revenue, but was just wasn't where I wanted my life to be at that particular point in time. So I managed to sell that agency for a small sum in 2016, and then I suppose accidentally fell into mentoring after taking sort of 2 or 3 months out to spend with my family and my new daughter, my second daughter, Soph. I kind of realized that I wanted to have some more grown-up conversations again, so I started networking.
Yeah.
And of course, the first question everybody asks you is, so what do you do? And I was like, well, nothing really. I sold my agency. I'm not doing anything. But of course, everybody was instantly intrigued. They wanted to know about how to sell, grow and sell their business. So bribed me with coffee and cake. And, I was doing some informal mentoring. And then eventually it just grew and grew and grew to a point where it became what is now Fearless Business. So my day job as a business coach is helping mostly other coaches, consultants, freelancers to essentially, if they can, double their revenue, but with half the clients. So we want to get to a point where everybody's out there chasing clients and marketing the whole time. I'm like, no, we want to do less work in that front and actually confidently charge more for the work which you're currently doing for your existing client base.
Right. How you can do more high ticket closings by doing the things. Amazing. Robin, so let's talk about like the people who are watching this podcast. So there are a lot of people who are like running a local agency, you can say, getting a lot of clients, but they're charging a low ticket. So what is the difference between the people who are charging like the high ticket thing and the low ticket thing? Because at the end of the day, I think the services are a bit similar. They both are doing the similar things. They're providing some similar results, but somebody is charging a very big amount for the same thing, but somebody is not able to charge more. So what is the difference between those two people?
Yeah, a lot of it comes down to mindset and confidence, confidence in your own ability to be able to deliver remarkable results for your clients.
Yeah.
And the simplest way to kind of, I use an example actually of three. Imagine you've got 3 different website designers, and Chetan, you're in the market for a website. Web designer one comes along and they're charging $50 an hour to design a website, and they say to you, well, it'll probably take about 20 hours to build the website. You'd be thinking, okay, well, $1,000, that feels about fair. So off they go, they toddle off, they disappear for 3 months, and then they come back and you kind of like, well, where have you been? how's my website? Oh, where's the blog? Where's the shopping cart that you promised me?
Yeah.
And that
Yeah.
web designer says, oh, I didn't realize those were in the brief. It'll cost you another 10 hours to do that. And you're like, well, hold on a second. We agreed that it was going to be 20 hours. So you as a customer are slightly annoyed. The web designer number one is also annoyed, and he reluctantly agrees to add on the shopping cart and the blog for free. So, he's getting a little bit frustrated with the process as well. And of course, what he forgot to tell you was when you booked him to do some work, that you were one of his first clients. But he's very good at sort of, he's got a gift of the gab. So he's very good at selling and got you on board, but took on too many clients too cheaply. And that's why it took so long and wasn't as good as it should be. Then we've got web designer number two. And web designer number two has been doing it for ages, but they don't know what Robin and Chetan know about pricing. And so they're also charging $50 an hour. But because they've been doing it pretty quickly, they've got templates set up and they know exactly what it is that you need. So they disappear for a week, come back, you've got this wonderful brochure style website, but it's only taken them 10 hours to deliver that website. So $500. Now you're thinking, hang on a second, the first web designer with less experience who does a poor quality job as a result ends up earning double what the more experienced guy, is earning, considering that he does it faster and to a high quality. So there's our first clue that hourly rates don't really work. And ultimately what I've noticed is most service client businesses, agencies, freelancers, consultants, they charge by the hour or charge by the day. And the thing is, the longer you've been doing that for, the better results you get, and you can do it a lot faster. So actually hourly rates really vastly reduces your profitability. But then finally we've got web designer number three who comes along, and she's an absolute website ninja. She's been doing it for years. She doesn't care about shopping carts or blogs, because what she's interested in is building you a lead generation machine.
Yeah.
So she goes away after 72 hours, comes back, and she says, right, here's your website, but I've got a promise for you. If that website's not generating you 20 fully qualified leads for your local business in the next 30 days, I'll refund you all of the money you spent on me. Plus I'll pay you $1,000 for wasting your time, which you can spend on web designer number one or two. And you're thinking, that sounds amazing. What's the catch? And then of course they say the price. It's $10,000 for this website. But you're thinking, well, hang on, if I can get those 20 qualified leads through and convert 4 or 5 of them into customers, well, actually, I'm going to make my money back super fast. So maybe that's the best option. But what it comes down to is website design number three is very good, can do a great, a quick turnaround job. But most importantly, they're really confident in their ability to deliver great results. And I think this is what a lot of agencies, consultants, freelancers, they really struggle with their confidence in what it is that they're doing. But also there's a second side of it, which is purely mindset, which is when most people sell something, it's a direct reflection of how they buy something. So I always like to remind people, if your mindset is you want to buy the cheapest, if you want to buy, get a deal on it and discounts and 2-for-1s and things like that, that's fine if you're buying your toothpaste or your tin of beans or whatever. But when it comes around to sort of high quality services, you've got to think twice about that, because quite often, well, we have a saying in the UK, I don't know how common it is in India or further afield, but buy cheap, buy twice. So you end up always buying the same product more times the cheaper you get it, because the first time you buy it, it's a load of rubbish. But it's that mindset thing of like, well, actually, if you prefer to buy cheap, then you're gonna fall into the trap of selling cheap as well. And
Right.
so we've got to kind of do a little bit of work on the mindset first, and then we can start to break out and confidently charge more. But there's like several stages to work through with that.
100%, 100%. I totally agree with that, because I think if you are selling commodities, like you are just designing a website, or you are selling your time, or you are selling your just a website, like everybody can do it in the market. Like there are a lot of people in, you can say there are a lot of people in Fiverr, Upwork, those type of platforms. They can do it at a very cheaper price than you. Even if you do it less than $50, there are people who can do less than that as well.
Yeah.
So you can never compete somebody with pricing. Pricing is not the thing for competing. it is very important to understand the value of it, because when you charge in the basis of results that you're producing, definitely you can charge more. The same thing we do in our agency, like we charge in behalf of the results that we are producing rather than the things that we do. This is very like very well explained, like such a clear explanation of the things, like how and why this is different. Now, Robin, it is very amazing that you are into high ticket closing and you know how to close people. But I'm curious to know, what is the process do you use for lead generation? Have you tried doing cold outreach ads? There are a lot of methods. What do you use for getting more appointments in your calendar?
Yeah, so over the years, the last 10 years, we've tried all sorts of different things. So we've tried, direct outreach, cold DMs, we've tried sort of email marketing, short and long form video, we've tried podcasting, blogging, you name it.
Yeah,
We've done pretty much everything under the sun and
yeah,
watched a lot of our clients we've watched do this similar sorts of things as well. And ultimately what I got to a point in sort of late 2022, so the end of 22, start of 2023, when I was just fed up. We were spending literally 20, 30 hours plus a week on doing all sorts of social media and repurposing content and all sorts of things like that. And it just wasn't really, it felt like a huge amount of effort in, but then, results wise, it ended up being, it just didn't seem tantamount to the effort.
yeah,
And there's a number of reasons why the marketplace has sort of shifted so dramatically as well. And in fact, alongside that, sort of a couple of years prior to that, I did hire somebody full time to run my socials and podcast and repurpose content. And when we actually went back and, I mean, Jess was fantastic. She was one of the best employees I've ever had. Very diligent, very hardworking, very supportive of the team and things like that. But
yeah.
when we tracked back through directly the work that she'd done on our socials and content for a year, we got no clients from the work that she'd done. It come from things which I'd done prior to that, which were speaking on the stage at large conferences, going onto podcasts and doing interviews, and then my books as well. So one of my strategies is I give lots of books away each year, because if you get people into your email list and then warm them up the right way and invite them to events and things like that, you get a far higher conversion rate. And so for years, I've done the podcast speaking and book funnel. And every time we've gone off to do ads, we come back to those three things. If we go off and do so, I've always come back to do those three things again. But yeah, end of 2022, I was just like, I'm absolutely done with social media because it's just such a time suck. And it's a bit of a lottery ticket in this day and age. So part of that is because like the landscape of business over the last 20 years has shifted like dramatically. So I mean, I remember my first business in 2004. You could kind of get a basic website, print off some business cards, and then go to a networking meeting and you could get clients. It was super easy to get clients 20 years ago.
Yeah, yeah.
And then like three big shifts happened. So the first one was, well, in the last 20 years, there's 12 times the number of businesses registered, globally,
Yeah.
not just in the UK, but globally. So you're already competing in a local market against 12 times the number of businesses. Then in the early 2000s into the early 2010s, you then had the advancement of fast internet. So now you are competing against a global marketplace, like you said, competing against other agencies on Fiverr and Upwork and stuff like that globally. And then the third shift was the advent of social media. So in the 2010s, you had this massive, all of the social media platforms were born and then started to grow hugely. And so, it was great if you got into Facebook in the early 2010s, but now fast forward 10 years, everybody's on Facebook, everybody's on Instagram, everybody's now migrating to TikTok and LinkedIn, you name it. So I just quit social media,
Yeah.
done with it. But
Mm.
then I was like, well, I've still got to do some marketing. I've got to do something. How can what could I do? And I watched a friend of mine, an amazing guy called Simon Alexander Ong. So he's got a wonderful book called Energize. And I saw Simon kept on popping up with like selfies with these really incredible people like Ali Abdaal, Simon Sinek, Diary of a CEO, Steve Bartlett, the host of that show. And all these really incredible, like famous people. I was like,
Yeah.
how does he keep getting selfies with all these people?
Yeah.
And then I was like minded of the fact that I've run online businesses for like 20 years. So, and I that particular week when I saw Simon doing all these headshots, I was like, shit, I haven't been out of the office, my little studio in Gloucestershire in the UK. I haven't been out of my studio I haven't seen anybody for 5 days, like in real life. And so immediately I was like, right, first of all, I need to get hyper intentional. So I need to get out and meet some people, but I need to be really intentional about it. Who is it that I want to meet? So I wrote a list of like 10 sort of internet entrepreneurs, celebrities that I just thought I like their messaging. I love what they're about. And so I thought it'd be really cool just to hang out with them. The second step after writing that list down was like, right, I need to be in the same, if I want to take a selfie with these people, I need to be in the same room as them. So I started going to their events. I started sort of networking at a far higher level. I started asking for introductions to these people. And if they were speaking at a particular event, I'd make sure I was there. But I wouldn't just kind of go to the event and be a passenger at the back of the auditorium. I'd go and sit in the front room so that, if they did a Q&A or a meet and greet after the talk, I'd be the first one there to go and see them. And so all of a sudden I'm getting into the world of these like just really incredible people. And for some reason, and I think this is a tip which I want everybody to sort of pay attention to. So from my internet,
Yeah.
my agency days, I was very introverted. I found it really hard to kind of go out and see people. And then of course, as a business coach and going on podcasts and speaking, you've got to kind of naturally learn to be more extroverted and put yourself out there. So I used to find it really hard to like go up and actually sort of say hello to people. But when I met these people, these amazing, incredible people like Ali, like Steve Bartlett and people like that, I was like, they're just normal people. And once upon a time, they were where I was, starting out in their careers. So I just made it a thing to start hanging out with them. The next thing, the third step was then like add value to these people's worlds, like find creative ways to bring some value into their world or whatever it might be. So Chris Do, for example, he was doing a talk in London, and I noticed that he had a camera guy there, but they couldn't find their microphones. And whenever I go out, I carry a set of like Rhodes radio mics. And so I just got my mic out and gave one to the cameraman, and I started walking around the room because I don't know if you watch Chris Do's content, but it's all like Q&A, like whiteboarding sessions, like coaching.
Yeah.
So I start taking a microphone around whenever he's coaching somebody. And then halfway through, Chris Do's like, hey, dude with the microphone, everybody, this is Robin Waite. He's got this really cool book. So I'd given him a book. I'd sent him a copy prior.
Amazing. Amazing.
This is Robin. He's the guy on the mic. He's got this wonderful book called Take Your Shot. You should all buy it. And by the way, Rob, thanks so much for doing the mic. I didn't ask him to do this. He's just doing it. This is like, so,
Right.
and this is right. So he called me out in the middle of a group, a room full of people. So that adding value is like hugely important. Anyway, basically it was just meeting cool people, add some value to their world, get to know their teams, and then make introductions. So I've got lots of really cool entrepreneurs now in my WhatsApp as well, so I can make introductions really easily. Daniel Priestley's in there as well, and that's about it. And what was interesting is that I started doing this I didn't expect anything in return.
Right.
Because it was fun. It was just great fun hanging out with these people, right? So I had no expectation. And anyway, one day, so after about, I don't know, 6-7 months of doing this, one of Ali Abdal's team, I did a coaching session with him for free. And Joe was like, Robin, I have to pay, how much? I need to pay you something. Like, here's the money. I was like, Joe, I don't want any money. It's like, I'll have to give you something. Like, I'm really grateful for this session. I just said, well, I hear Ali's like recording, the next 2 seasons of his podcast. I said, I don't need you to ask me to be on the podcast, but with 24 guests flying in from all 4 corners of the globe, if somebody can't make it and you want to use the recording slot, just call me. I'll get on the train. I'll come down. Anyway, turns out, Joe was dating Ali's podcast booker. 24 hours later, I got a call because somebody had dropped out and could I get a train down to London? I was like, let me think about this now. Yes. But then realized I had that day I had a couple of podcast interviews. I had a client session. I had to pick up and drop off my girls from school. My wife was away on work and I had all these logistics to sort out. But anyway, went down to record. That episode went live pretty much 2 years ago to the day, actually. It was August 2023. And that that generated 3,000 leads, that one podcast did in the first 12 months.
Insane,
Yeah.
insane.
And I still get inquiries coming through to this day. So one of the things we did is we put one of my books, a signed copy of one of my books, as a gift at the end of the podcast. And
Okay.
I kid you not, I still get like requests for the book even now, 2 years later. Not as many as back then.
Yep.
And I think in total I did I've enrolled 40 plus clients from out of those 3,000 leads, £250,000 worth of new business. But also like
£250,000?
£250,000 just off the back of one podcast interview. Um,
Amazing,
and
amazing.
I'm still doing the partnership work with Ali and the team as well. So there's stuff going on behind the scenes, things that we're working on together, which is great. They're hard to replicate though. I've had a couple of sort of not quite as big podcast interviews come up, but there are things which are slowly sort of bubbling away behind the scenes.
So
Um,
Robin, like, I would love to know, like, you have done podcasts with Ali Abdal. You're going to do a podcast with Chris Do. Like, it's a very very big name in the industry, and
yeah,
you were not the friends from a very long time, or you can say, like, it's like you have you have created that relationship so that they can invite you in your podcast, and it's a very big name in the industry. So, is there any framework you can suggest to the audience or like viewers how we can connect with those people, or what is the framework do you use, or any secrets, any strategies that we can use to connect like with those people? Because it's insane. Like, you have done a podcast with Ali Abdal, and it's 250k pounds. Like, it's a huge amount of money. Like, we cannot do it by reaching out to the people manually, or you can say like reaching out to the people on Instagram. Like, you have figured out a way, like, understand where is your audience, and
yeah.
try to gather those audience directly going to their channel, so you can get a bunch of people at once.
Yeah, that's it. That's what it's all about. I think the key thing to remember is that first of all, it takes a bloody long time to build these partnerships.
Right.
You're talking like years potentially. Um, so you've got to be in it for the long haul. If you are just desperate for clients and you need money now, it's this strategy won't work. And I'm very clear with people about that. This is just something like Simon Sinek talks about it as well. Like, he talks about the infinite game, and he says that, business and life are not made up of short-term wins and losses. The goal in life and business is to stay alive and in business for as long as you possibly can do. So if all you're thinking about is, oh, I've got my rent to pay and I've got to go out and feed my family and stuff like that, and I need the money now, these sorts of strategies don't work. But in terms of like partnerships, so you've got to be intentional. Who is it that you would love to partner up with? The second thing, like I said, is make sure you're in the same room as those people, no matter what the cost is or how long it's going to take. Go to their events and actually try and figure out how you're going to meet them in person. And even if it is literally just to say hi and take a selfie with them and say thank you for the amazing work which you're doing, you're not a friend, you're not in their inner circle, but you're in their world, you're in the same energy, that in that's taking up the same space, which is massively important. And that's just the beginning of it. You may have to do that a dozen times before they actually kind of remember your face and go, oh, it's Chetan again, or it's Robin again, nice to see you.
Yeah.
The other thing as well is like just doing things to help their cause. Okay, so one of the simplest things you can do is you can hit follow or subscribe on whatever their channels are. So whether it be YouTube or Instagram, LinkedIn or Twitter, X, and then on all of these channels, there's a little bell notification. So if you switch that on, you'll get notified whenever they post a piece of content.
Right.
So the first thing you do is you jump onto that piece of content and you like it, you comment it, and you repost it and share it. And again, they may not notice that, but again, if you're doing it at a decent enough of a volume, your name will keep popping up there. And then eventually when you do meet them in person, they'll say, oh my God, I've seen you reposting, I've seen you commenting. Thanks for that. The other thing which you can do as well, again, which is, I guess, harder, is something called the silver platter. So if you can refer them business clients or something like that, money speaks. You don't necessarily have to always pay to play, but it can sometimes work. But refer somebody to them that could be useful in their world, because everybody knows somebody, and if you can engineer that introduction, great.
Mhm.
one of the things which I've also done is, in order to build partnerships with people, is I'll sponsor their events. So if you can afford to, just put some money behind a sponsorship. So I always sponsor goodie bags and send them 1,000 books. Put these in your goodie bags, and then they've got a nice gift to give all of their delegates, for example. But supporting their event, again, puts you onto their radar. If you have a podcast, you can invite these people onto your podcast, and they may say no, but they also might say yes as well. So just because they are operating at a level that you feel is higher than you, doesn't necessarily mean to say that they're going to be so arrogant they won't accept a podcast interview. So you can invite them onto their podcast, onto your podcast, and then that elevates your brand up. And then the final tip, which I've got as well on this, is that oftentimes, the Chris Does, Ali Abdals, the Daniel Priestleys of this world, they're super busy. So what I've learned is that actually you can't always get to the key person of influence, but oftentimes you can meet and speak to their team, because whilst everybody's, looking at Ali or Dan or Chris or whoever, their team, when somebody comes over and says hi to their team, they're like, oh, somebody noticed me, so one, they appreciate that connection, but also two, again, like, you can figure out what it is that they need. And then during their next team meeting, they'll be like, oh, do you remember this guy, Robin? Yeah, he gave me a free coaching session and it was absolutely incredible. Hey, Ali, you should speak to this guy, or get him to come and speak on your 1K challenge or whatever it might be. So getting to know the team. And of course, you can always connect with the team members on LinkedIn as well. And if then you've got if you're connected with 20 members of their team, and then you send the key person of influence the request, they'll be like,
Yeah.
oh, this guy's connected with my team, so therefore they might accept it as well. So there's a couple of ways that you can kind of work around it.
Insane. These strategies are insane. Like, you can sponsor their events. If you can reach out to the team, because they have thousands of followers, but the team doesn't have those numbers of followers. So it is very easy to get responses from their team members, because they have a minimal number of followers, so they can easily see your messages. So it is insane, the strategies that you told us. So can you tell me, what was the first time when you reach out to Chris too? Was that the event that you were in, or it was you text him on LinkedIn? What was the opener? What was the icebreaker between you and the particular person you want to reach out to?
Yeah, again, part of this process is a little bit of luck as well.
Yeah,
It's not,
yeah.
there's no prescriptive formula that's going to work each and every time. Getting a little bit of luck also helps, I'm not going to lie. So Chris and I have a mutual connection, a guy called Matt Essam, who is a fantastic coach, and I've worked with Matt for years. But so I've been to a couple of Chris's events. I kind of said hi to him and stuff like that. And then Chris keynoted at the Atomicon conference. I forget now whether it was last year or the year before. Time's flown by. Anyway, he keynoted at the event.
Yeah.
Our mutual friend happened to be there, and I just happened to be milling around when Matt and Chris were deciding whether they were going to go for food or not in the evening. And so just by chance, the three of us ended up having supper after Atomicon. Just the three of us. That was it. It wasn't like a big supper or anything like that. Went to this lovely French restaurant in Newcastle. Kind of got to know him on a bit more of a personal level.
Yeah.
And then more recently than that, Chris was keynoting and also delivering a workshop out in Dubai at the 1 Billion Followers Summit, which by the way, if any of your listeners are in Dubai or can get out there, it's they hold it every year in January, and it is one of the most incredible social media summits going. So
are you going to be there? Will you go there in next January?
I'm hoping to, but I've got to have a word with Mrs. Waite and make sure that she's we've not got any big plans in January. Otherwise, yeah, I'd love to go back again.
Yeah.
Anyway,
if you will go, we will join together. I will love to join you.
That would be incredible. Yeah, no, absolutely. I'll keep you posted, but yeah, it's not confirmed yet, but I'll see where I end up. But anyway, I went this year. So I was invited by Matt. Then I didn't realize until I got out there that Chris was speaking and doing a workshop. Chris then invited me to, co-facilitate the workshop. So paid for my ticket, got me on board and everything. And then I thought, I really need to sort of say thank you to Chris because that was incredibly generous of him. So I, it's a bit convoluted. I found out that Chris loves like boats. So he does this fishing trip every year out in Canada, near where he's from, right? So I was like, right, he likes boats, and like hiring a boat in Dubai is like basically hailing an Uber. It's like super easy just to get, you get on an app, you pick your boat, and then you pay the money for it. And I think it wasn't cheap. It was like £700 or something, but I paid for it through the business. And I thought, worst case scenario, I'm on this boat at sunset, sailing around the Palm in Dubai on my own, listening to some music, right? For
Yeah.
3 hours.
That's the worst case. Yeah.
But I booked it, and then I sent a message via Matt, and I said, Matt, I've got the boat. We've got it on Friday afternoon. Sorry, for 3 hours. Send Chris a message and see if he'd be up for it. Chris immediately wrote back and said, "Fuck yeah, that sounds great." He brought his two sons. He brought a couple of guys off his team, and then we also had a couple of mutual friends come on board as well. So there were 10 of us on this boat. And it was just really fun. It was just chilled, listening to music, chatting about life and business and stuff like that. And afterwards, I was thinking to myself, like, God, imagine if I'd actually had to, I don't know, buy 3 hours of Chris's time for
Yeah.
getting something like that. It'd been like $10,000 or $15,000 or something crazy, right? But I got him on a boat. He couldn't get off for like 3 hours for 700 quid. So it was brilliant. But things like that, that I hope is a memory, not just that Chris will enjoy, but everybody on that boat, Chris, his sons, Matt, my friend, and a couple of other guys. One of the guys actually who came on the boat with us, we've since collaborated, and I've just done a recording for his podcast, and he's got a top 1% podcast as well. So, there's all of these relationships come out of just giving, being generous, being abundant, with your money. Figuring out as well, like, I think if I bought, I don't know, I mean, it would have been an interesting experience, but if I bought like a camel ride in the desert, I'm not sure Chris would have enjoyed that as much as going out on the boat. He absolutely loved it.
Right, right, right. You have a brilliant mindset, like how you're able to do all those things. Like normally people don't think about all those things like that you do. Right? It's also a risk-taking ability. Like you are trying to try something new, something different, because the entire world is just trying to reach out to the people, sending them cool messages. You can say reaching out to them manually. You have built something different that is helping you to get bunch of people at once. But I can understand like this is not for the viewers who want to get the money quick or who want to just get the results within few months. It is a long-term process that we have to focus on. And as you're onboarding so many clients for your business and helping them to get more clients and double their income and stuff, is there anything you recommend them for the new viewers who are watching this video to do in the next 3 months, or like a 3-month blueprint or something?
Yeah. We'll come on to that, but I'll share some statistics because this is quite important as well.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
So, two things. So the first one is that 3,000 leads, right?
Yeah.
I looked back into my list before that interview, and I worked out how long it took me to get to 3,000 leads in my email list. Prior to that one interview, it took me 4.5 years to generate 3,000 leads. So this is just with one interview, right? And I know there was a several months where it took me to sort of be intentional and get to that point where I got that interview.
Right.
But yeah, so 2.5 hour, podcast interview versus 4.5 years. The second statistic as well was that when I was doing social, like I said, it was taking me 20, 30 plus hours a week to do that, to do all of that work, and not for the great results. With my partnership model now, which I use, and it's probably only maybe 2 to 3 hours a week max that I spend investing my time into partnerships.
Yeah.
Okay. If you could argue that, a trip to Dubai or going out and down to London for the day, there is a cost to that. But I see that as like, do I grind out social media like for 30 hours a week, or enjoy spending time on boats in Dubai and on a first class train down to London, and on average like 2 to 3 hours a week's worth of just paying into the, those 10 partnerships which I've managed to forge.
Right.
So, okay, let's think about the next 3 months. So what could they start to do? I know the way I see it as well is you can be doing short-term marketing strategies, social media and things like that, short and long-form video and whatnot. That's fine. But alongside it, start to just spend a couple of hours a week on your partnership. So you're doing the two alongside each other. So
Mhm.
it doesn't have to be, I chose to do it either or, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But it can be, and you could do short-term social, you can do long-term partnerships at the same time, but probably just to spend 2 to 3 hours a week just figuring out who it is that you would love to partner up with, how you can help them, and start to figure out how you can deliver some value into their world. See what events they're doing and get along to some of their events. And again, it doesn't have to be an Ali Abdaal or a Steve Bartlett or a Chris Do. It could be that there's somebody in your world that maybe has 10,000 Instagram followers that would love to feature your products on their channel.
Mm.
Or
Right,
maybe
right.
they're a top 10% podcast that gets 1,000 downloads an episode that would love to have you on their podcast. But
Mm.
maybe you haven't up to this point had the confidence to ask for it. Okay. So the next 3 months is there's a bit of practical stuff, but the second thing is start to develop a bit of faith that you deserve a seat at the table, you deserve to be in the room, and that these people who probably you put on a bit of a pedestal, they're no different to you. They're just another human being. And probably when it comes to asking for what you want, if you want to get onto their Instagram, or if you want to be on their podcast, getting the timing right of the ask, getting what you ask for right,
Yeah.
getting asking the right person. So if you get, those three things right when you make the ask, you'll probably stand a good chance of getting what you want out of it. It's just having the
Right.
confidence to ask for the right thing at the right time,
Mm.
and being intentional.
Right, right, 100%. Like you can start both of the things simultaneously. So you don't have to
Yeah,
go all in into like just doing the partnerships. You can do both the things so that you can sustain your business. At the same time, you can build more partnerships.
yeah.
Robin, I'm curious to know, like you are getting on so many podcasts, you're doing it the whole year, like multiple different podcasts. Now, once you are in somebody's podcast, like what is the funnel looks like? Can you give us a breakdown of your funnel? Like you give them a free book and then like how you convert that cold lead to a like high paying client of yours, how the funnel looks like.
Yeah, essentially, my gift at the end of most podcasts, as I'll do at the end of this one, is a signed copy of one of my books.
Amazing.
It's a book called Take Your Shot. So we just I send people to a form which they can then fill in. The form, obviously, so I use Kit, which was formerly ConvertKit. Once they're in the email list, obviously I send out the copies of the book. So this is one which I've got prepped and ready to go out a bit later on. But
Amazing.
I hand sign and post every book myself. So I've taken that personal touch, even at like the point where I'm sending out thousands of books a year. So they go into Kit. We have just a very simple nurture sequence when they join. With the books, there's a follow-up email which goes out 30 days later just to say, hey, if you enjoyed the book, please take time to leave a review. Again, so it's not just about getting clients, it's actually about building, assets within the business as well. So for the books, reviews are massively important.
Right.
And then one of the things which I like to do, because I don't, there's too many people who are in their email list where they're like, you get one email saying thank you, and the second email is buy my stuff. And I don't like that. I'm like, no, I want to give people some value and build their trust and bring them into my world a little bit more closely so they can then make a more educated decision about whether I'm the right coach for them. So one of our first emails is after the book is, hey, I'm on LinkedIn. It's the easiest place where you can message me. So go and connect with me on LinkedIn. And also you'll get access to my 15,000 connections on there. So that's one of the things we do. The second email is, oh, did you realize we have a YouTube channel? And I put up we aim to put up 25 to 30 videos a year. My best thinking, in short videos, just if you want to subscribe to that and check out our content before we have a conversation, great. So it's all about like delivering as much value as we possibly can do and bringing people into different areas of sort of the fearless world, the fearless community. And then eventually what happens, I run periodical sort of group coaching experiences, workshops, basically, where again, it's not like, I don't do it as like a webinar funnel or anything like that. It's literally just show up for 90 minutes. We do some coaching work together. I'll talk to you about your business. And again, at the end of it, I make an invitation. If you want to stick around and know, how we can work more closely together, please do. And some people will dip out at the end of that coaching experience because now's not the right time for coaching. So I tried to do it. I probably do myself a bit of a disservice, because if I was like a 7-figure marketing bro, I probably would, have a team of sales closers and all this sort of
Sure.
stuff
Right. Yeah.
and whatnot. But for me, I this year we did £250,000 revenue, so about $350,000. I run a small local coaching like a small coaching practice out of my little studio at home. I don't need much. I don't need like a 7-figure scaling business. If it happens organically, great. Obviously,
Mm.
obviously I would take it, but
Yeah.
I've decided that my lifestyle is kind of as important as the type of business which I run as well, to make sure it's fun, I have freedom, but spend time with my family, make decent money from it. And as a result, we get the best clients in the Fearless crew. They're like
Mm.
they're so well qualified by the time they join.
Yeah.
They're just a great
And
joy
what
to
is the
work.
ticket size you're selling for? Like, if you're comfortable to let us know.
Yeah, so currently it's about $6,000 for the group, and then
Uh,
that will be going up. But and then I have a handful of one-to-one clients, which ranges from £12,000 to £18,000. So anywhere $20,000 to $25,000 a year to work one-to-one.
Mm.
But that's rare. Those businesses tend to be what I class as agency-sized businesses. So they're like 2 to 5 people. They've scaled, beyond that first employee, and now they've got slightly different problems to the smaller
Right.
businesses which we
Right.
work with.
Mm-hmm. Insane, amazing, amazing. It's a brilliant thing that you are doing right now, and you have made this business, rather than a hectic thing, to a fun thing. Like, you are enjoying doing the things that you do. You are like spending time with your family, and at the same time you are getting clients. And the one thing that I understood from you, that is like, you sell one to many. So it's
Yep.
like it's doing one to many, so you can make a good number of clients at once. So this is something that you do. Amazing, amazing. I love that. Robin, like, just one thing, like, guys, if you want to connect with Robin, like, I'm going to put the links in the description. Go there, check it out. It's amazing. You are going to learn a lot of things. And if you want to sign up for the book as well, I'm going to put the links in the description. You can go there, sign up for the book, read the entire book. You will love it. You will love a lot. Robin, like, just a final advice for the viewers of watching this video till now, because they are super excited. They want to grow their agency. Anything that you learned in your, like, such a long experience, from your experience, the mistake that they don't have to do, like, some advice I would love to
Yeah,
know.
sure. So for many years in my agency, and even in the early years of the coaching practice, I built a business that I thought I should be building, that was based on what other people were doing and things like that. And it was never really a business that was like really true to my identity. And it wasn't until probably
Yeah.
about 6 years ago, so 4 years into the coaching business, I rebranded as Fearless Business. And it was, I'm very much like the t-shirt and jeans coach, and I've built the business now which I wanted to build, which gives me, like you said, it's fun, I have freedom to roam, and I make good money from it, and I do it in a way that I want to do, which is like authentic to me. And I think sometimes we get caught up in seeing how everybody else is doing it, and the Lamborghinis and the private jets and the 7-figure bro marketing scaling, and it's all bullshit, frankly. You have to just build a business that feels really authentically true to yourself, in a way that you want to build it. And I'm not suggesting you ignore the advice of others. Just take on board the bits of advice which you think are appropriate to you. And I know as well, like, that as a result of that, there'll be people now listening to this thinking, there's this thing I've always wanted to do, I really want to do. Like, now is your best opportunity to just get out there and do it. Take your shot, because like, life is just far too short. If you don't take these opportunities now to build something you really want to build, you will look back on it with regret.
Yeah, yeah, right. 100%. Thank you so much, Robin. Thank you so much for your time. This was amazing. We learned a lot from you. We learned a different approach, how we can reach out to the people. Even I'm going to use some of your strategies. I love it. Thank you so much for your time. And guys, if you love this podcast, let us know in the comment section. We will try our best if we can do a podcast part 2 with Robin if we get the time. Thank you so much, Robin, once again for your time.
Oh, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you.